Guys, let's discuss another poem. It's The Charges of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Before I move on to the poem, let me show you the Light Brigade. This is the Light Brigade, British cavalrymen. You can just take a look. They are holding swords in their hands and they were expert in horse riding. The Charge of Light Brigade was written by English poet Alfred Lord Tennyson in response to a battle during Crimean War. Remember, this is a very important one. I'll highlight it. Crimean War, 1853-1855. This was the duration of this war. In this battle, British cavalry unit called Light Brigade was commanded to charge against a Russian artillery unit. The order was almost suicidal, and the brigade was decimated in the charge. The charge of Light Brigade celebrates the self sacrifice, heroism of cavalrymen, suggesting that bravery consists of doing one's duty even when it leads to almost certain death. Let's move on to the poem. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rolled 600. Now, half a league, the 600 cavalrymen rode for a mile and a half into the valley of death. This valley of death, this is Belkwana Valley where this battle was fought. You can see this one. This is the modern picture, but earlier it was not so sound and soothing. Might be scattered with dead bodies everywhere. Road 600. So 600 cavalrymen, they rode for a mile and a half in the valley of death. As I showed you, Belklava Valley, where this battle took place, and there were 600 soldiers. Remember this, very important. There were 600, and this valley of death is also important to understand. Forward, the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode 600. Light Brigade, advance. Who said this? Commander. He said, Light Brigade, forward, advance, and take charge. So 600 cavalrymen charged into the valley of death. They got order from their commander and they charged. Forward, the Light Brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not, though the soldiers knew someone had blundered. Now this is a very important stanza here. Commander said, Light Brigade, advance. Was any soldier discouraged or afraid, dismayed? No, even though they all knew the charge was a mistake. Someone had blundered. They knew that commander had blundered. So it's a reference to the fact the tragedy occurred because of the wrong decision taken by army commander such as Lord Raglan. So first he ordered them. He said, Light Brigade, you advance. The commander said. And he is confirming also here, was any soldier discouraged or afraid to go ahead? But what could these soldiers do? No, even though they all knew the charge was a mistake, but it wasn't up to them to dispute their orders. There's not to make reply or dispute their orders or to ask why they were given, the reason. Even they could not clarify why these orders were given, the reason, and no argument at all. Their job was simply to act and to die. It was their job. Order was given to them and they were told to advance and fight with Russian army, and they could do nothing. Into the valley of death rode the 600. So the 600 members of the cavalry charged into the valley of death. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon in front of them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell. So this is the picture of a battleground. There were cannons on the right, cannons on the left, cannons in front, volleyed. What is volleyed? And they all fired loud blast and thundered, stormed at with shot and shells. So here there were cannons on the right, cannons on the left, cannons in front, and they all fired loud blasts. The soldiers were showered with gunshots and artillery shells. These are the weapons, in war. So they were showered with gunshots and artillery shells. Then boldly they rolled and well into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell roared 600. Now here Tennyson is describing heroism of these 600 cavalrymen, British cavalrymen. They roared boldly and well into the teeth of death, into the jaws of death they went. Into the mouth of hell, these 600 soldiers rode into the mouth of hell. What is mouth of hell? The battleground. Because this was unplanned. It was kind of a blunder, but they could do nothing because they were patriotic. They didn't want to disobey the commander. So they 600 soldiers, they roared where? Into the jaws of death and the mouth of hell, in battleground. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered. Now, here they raised their sabers. What are sabers? Swords. I'll show you. How does it look? This is a saber, a sword. So, what are they doing here? They raised their swords in the air, and their sword flashed in the light. They stabbed, sabering the gunners, stabbed the soldiers firing the guns. Russian soldiers, they charged an entire army, their army, while whole world watched in amazement and wonder. Why? Because this was a kind of achievement for British cavalrymen. They had swords, but another party, the enemy, Russian counterparts, they had heavy artilleries, but still they could fight with them, these British people. So the whole world was in amazement and they were wonder. Then plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line, they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered, sundered. Then they roared back, but not the 600. It's really painful here. Now, what happened? The cavalrymen drove into the smoke from the guns. The battery smoke, smokes from the gun. They drove into that. Right through the line, they broke. They broke through the enemy line. They crossed the line. They reached in their area or in their region. The Russian troops were dazed. They were surprised, and they were reeled from saber stroke, cut into pieces by their swords, shattered and sundered, means cut into small pieces or destroyed. They were completely destroyed by British cavalrymen. Then they rode back. Cavalrymen, they rode back, but not the 600, because all of them, they did not come back from the war. Some of them, unfortunately, had lost their lives. I'll show you these Cossack. Yes, a member of Slavic people living in southern European Russia and Ukraine, adjacent parts of Asia, noted for their horsemanship and military skill. So they formed an elite cavalry in Russia. These people, they were fighting with these people. They were elite and they were bold, courageous. They were stronger than Britishers, but still Britishers fought with them and came victorious. So this is about the glorification of British cavalry men. Then what happened? Again, the repetition here. Cannons to the right of them, cannons to the left of them, cannons behind them, all of them firing loud blasts. This volleyed and thundered, volleyed, rapid simultaneous discharge of firearms, loud blast, thunder, and these army men, cavalrymen, they were showered with gunshots and artillery shells, like in last stanza, while horse and hero fell. Then what happened? When they were showered with gunshots and artillery shells, many of these heroes and their horses were killed. They fell, they were killed. They they means Light Brigade. They had fought so well. They had fought so well, even though they had ridden into the teeth of death and come back, came through the jaws of death. They fought very well and came from the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. And they came back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. So here, poet says that that was all that was left of 600 riders who set out on the charge. 600 set out on the charge, and what is left of 600? What the poet has not given number here, but some people, they lost their lives in the battle. Then this last stanza, when can their glory fade? Poet says that when will their bravery be forgotten? Nobody is going to forget their glory, their bravery. Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. The whole world admired their wild charge. Their wild charge, the whole world admired it. Because for their bravery and for courage with which they fought with their enemies. So he says that honor the charge they made. We must respect their charge they made. Attack they made, no? The bravery, efforts they took. We must honor their charge. Honor the Light Brigade. We must respect them. We must respect Light Brigade, the brave 600 noble soldiers who fought bravely in that war. So this is about the glorification of war. Hope you understood the poem. Now we will go to question and answers. First one. I'll take a little pause. The soldiers that survived the battle came through the dash of death, as it says in stanza 5 of the charge of Light Brigade. So, jaws of death. So, this is the correct answer. Jaws of death. At the end of charge of Light Brigade, what adjective described the 600 men? At the end, the charge of Light Brigade, they were noble at the end. About which war charge of Light Brigade written? I told you in the beginning, in the introduction, it was Crimean War. Remember this. Fourth, complete the quote. There's not to make reply. There's not to reason why. There's but to do and die, die. No, die, die. So die will be correct answer here. Next, what is missing word from stanza 6 of charge of Light Brigade? When can their dash fared or wild charge they made? It's a glory. No, poet says that, no, glory. When can the glory be forgotten? So glory is correct answer. What did Tennyson nickname the valley where British soldiers roared? Valley of Death. In stanza 3 of The Charge of Light Brigade, where was one of the places the cannons were not aimed? Stanza 3 of The Charge of Light Brigade. So, definitely it was in front. According to first stanza of Charge of the Light Brigade, how many British forces rode into the battle? Yes, it's very simple. 600. Last two questions. According to stanza 4 of Charge of Light Brigade, what was world doing while battle was taking place? The world was, please guess the answer, wandering. Because there were very few people, very few forces, and they came victorious against a very big force of Russia. 10. What honor was bestowed on Alfred, Lord Tennyson, at the time he was writing The Charge of the Light Brigade? Yeah, this was in the introduction. You have to remember that he was Poet Laureate for the United Kingdom. He was appointed as a Poet Laureate for the United Kingdom. Hope you understood this poem. Thank you very much.